Well, good morning. It is Saturday. This is New Thought Talk, and I am the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center, located in downtown Madera. What a wonderful place to be. But I'm here in Fresno today doing the show, and what a show I've got for you today. You know, during the time that I've been on air, I've had the opportunity to interview many of the local New Thought ministers here in the Central Valley area, and one fellow that I've had on several times before has dying to come back today and join me, and he's brought his wife. This is the Reverend Michael Torphy and his wife, Valerie Torphy, Reverend Valerie, and they are the ministers at the Center for Spiritual Living located on Clinton in Fresno. It's great people. It's just a wonderful place to be, and I'm excited to have you on the show. Michael, welcome back. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Valerie, welcome to join us today. You know, I tried to get her on the show the last time Michael was here, but she was busy. So I'm glad that she took the time and she's able to join us today. You know, I was talking to Reverend Michael, and I thought it was like only a year ago that he was on, but it's been almost 2 years since you were on, Michael. And, you know, things have just changed and happened all over the place. Yeah. You have been at the Center for Spiritual Living for 5.5 years, you were telling me.
Yes. 5.5 years.
And Valerie, you've been with him the whole way, right?
The whole way, yes.
What a wonderful deal.
Yeah.
How's things going over there?
They're going wonderfully. People are excited. It's summer, so, you know, people are on vacation and stuff now, but we got a lot of things going on that we're looking forward to happening at our center.
You were saying before we went on the air that you've got a practitioner series that's going to be taking place during the summer, or
Go ahead.
workshops?
We have one each month, and the first one is tomorrow, and it's on the breath of spirit, and the practitioners actually plan those workshops and deliver them. So we're looking forward to the first one tomorrow.
Well, that's great. Now, for our audience that doesn't know, practitioners are trained individuals. They go through a rather extensive period of training to become a practitioner, and when someone comes to a practitioner, one of the things that most importantly that they're trained to do is to do what we call affirmative prayer treatment for that person.
Right.
Yes.
You know, and why don't you explain a little bit about that?
Well, it's a long process. They take about 4 to 5 years to train, and then they become what we call spiritual practitioners. And there's sessions that people come and book, and they spend an hour, usually 50 minutes to an hour, and they're trained to listen, and they're trained to facilitate how to ask questions so a person can discover on their own what it is they're trying to find out about themselves, what challenge they're trying to get through. So it's basic, and then it ends with a spiritual mind treatment. So it's basically like spiritual. It's not coaching. It's not counseling. It's just facilitating that atmosphere for somebody to step into and discover themselves.
And to help them grow in whatever areas that they
Yes.
need to grow to. And you know, for people that follow New Thought philosophies, that this is one of the key foundational areas
Yes.
of our philosophy
Yes.
is the spiritual mind treatment and the practitioner that administers it. And each and every minister
Yes.
is also a practitioner. You had to be a practitioner before you became a minister.
right, yeah.
So, you know, not only are practitioners available, but also the ministers too.
Well, for us, it's probably about a 9-year journey just to get ordained.
Yeah, someone was saying that we've got an ordination in the future. It's
Yeah.
So, you know, Valerie, Pete, because Michael's been on before, and I've asked him his history. Why don't you explain to our audience how did you come to religious science, and what was your journey to practitionership and then to become a minister? How'd that work out for you?
Well, I was a vice president of a bank, and somebody gave me a book called Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain. And then I became a vegetarian about that same time, and I started yoga classes, and I began to realize that this corner office that had taken me so long to get to, and it wasn't going to continue to be my path.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kept hearing from Spirit, you got to find your own way, you got to find your own way. And it took me a few years to figure out what my path was beyond banking. And I got trained to be a life coach.
Uh-huh.
And I realized during that training that Spirit was missing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I still didn't know exactly how that was going to fit me, but I already had clients. And then I met a person who, over time, I introduced me to Reverend
that guy right
Michael.
there, huh?
Yes, and he said, you ought to come to church.
Uh-huh.
And
Good line, huh?
Yeah.
so I did, and I realized, oh, this is what I've been looking for my whole life, and I just didn't even know there was anything like this there.
I'm going to interrupt you for a minute. I want to finish your story. But that point, what Reverend Valerie just said, for our audience, this is such an incredible point of self-discovery. And we're seeing it unfold in people today in greater numbers. They've been part of what I call old thought, whether it's be old thought religion or just old thought
Yes.
lifestyle.
Yes.
And having that realization that there's something beyond me searching in the vacuum of myself, that there is a greater God, there's a greater good, and a greater place to grow myself. So you got to that place in your journey, and how did it go, and where did it go from there?
Well, and so I hadn't been there very long when they said we need somebody to do the program, and I said, okay, I can do the program. So Reverend Michael says to me, do you have any idea what you're getting into?
Little
I
did
gave
she know,
her
yeah.
I gave her the warning.
I said, no, but I'll do it anyway.
All right.
And so then pretty soon I was doing the newsletter and on and on and on, and then classes were going to start. And they said, oh, you should start classes. And it's like, well, okay, what are they?
Mm-hmm.
So my very first foundations class, which was my very first class in religious science, started on the 9/11, that
Whoa.
horrendous day.
People were calling me saying,
We're
are
not
you
going
going
to
to
have
have a class?
class.
Yeah.
I says, that's the best time to have class.
That's right.
And it was.
Wow.
I mean, we did so much healing just in that one class.
Yeah.
And so I knew right from the get-go that this was what I'd been missing, and that I knew I was going to be a licensed practitioner because it was the coaching that I had the training for. It was, people have always talked to me.
Mhm.
You know, it just
Good
felt
listening.
like they have always talked to me. And now I'm going to get trained how to make sure Spirit's at the center of it.
All right. That's great. So you became a practitioner. How did you go from there to becoming a minister?
I kind of knew as I was becoming a practitioner that I was also going to just keep going. And I delayed for a while, and finally the dean said, you need to go now.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do it now. It's like, okay. I was working, I was the administrator of the center that we were at. So I was
Uh-huh.
working a lot and doing a lot, because I do a lot. And so it's like, okay, I'll fit this in. And I was driving from Grand Junction to Denver to school,
Uh-huh.
over the mountains, in the snow, and sometimes
It's
the
about
forest.
250 miles over the mountain.
Oh.
Sometimes the trip was 7 hours because of the snow. But, so I did that until we moved to Fresno, and then I transferred to Santa Rosa, and so then the trip was up to Santa Rosa and back. And so I
Let
did
me
that.
interrupt you, because I really don't know, you were in Colorado at the time. You were at the,
That was my first senior ministry.
right. But you were driving to Denver. Were you going to Mile High? Is that where you were going to?
To school, yeah.
To school?
Yes.
Okay. That's why can't I think? Roger
Roger
Teal,
yeah,
yes.
Roger Teal. I watch I watch his stuff, and he is,
Yeah.
and what a dynamic, that whole center there, is
Yeah.
just a.
Well, he
place.
has an interesting story because he grew up in religious science at that church.
Uh-huh.
And when he became a minister, he went to California and was an assistant. And the minister that was there, Fred Voigt,
Uh-huh.
no longer with us, he groomed Roger to be a minister.
Yeah.
He just saw him as that. And then Roger went back to Denver and ended
Yeah.
up taking that.
Yeah, Roger was like in Huntington Beach or something.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's where
yeah.
it was, Huntington Beach.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if you ever get a chance, go to you'll have to Google it. CSL Mile High in Denver, Colorado. And watch their video archive. They usually have like the last 3 or 4 Sunday talks. They don't have an extensive archive, but
It's HI, by the way, not HIGH.
what's that?
Isn't it Mile High?
Yeah, and I think they're Mile
HI.
High Church. They're part of Centers for Spiritual Living,
Yeah.
but I think they're Mile High Church.
Yeah, I've Googled it either way. You can,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
Yeah, you can find
if you
it.
do it, you can find it. So, anyway, we're just blazing through the time here. It's time that we're going to take our first break. When we come back, I'm going to have more interesting stories with this young couple here that are spiritual leaders in the Fresno area. So
I like
I'll
that.
see you when we come back.
This message was brought to you by Javita Coffee. Change your coffee, change your life, 1 cup at a time. Check us out at ilovejavita.com.
Viewers of Central Valley Talk, what is your home worth? The experienced agents at Mike Briggs Properties are offering a free property valuation if you mention Central Valley Talk. Find the value of your property for free. Call Mike Briggs Properties at 486-6758. Mention Central Valley Talk. Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758.
Hi, Bob Rose for Car Bazaar Auto Sales. Wow! This month only 0 down payment on drive-off. That's right, folks. 0 down payment on drive-off. Up to $2,000 trade-in value for your car. Monthly payments as low as $299.99. SSI and AFDC are always welcome here at Car Bazaar. 30 years in business. That's right, folks. 30 years in business. We finance anybody. And remember, folks, at Car Bazaar, your job is your credit.
Blackstone, south of Ashland.
Let our family at Avakian Insurance Services help protect your family's future. If you've bought a new home, changed vehicles, or just need a comprehensive review, let our agents help you. As your family grows, we can offer you competitive rates on life and health insurance. Call Avakian Insurance Services for a quote today. Avakian Insurance Services, 268-7386, or visit us online at avakianinsurance.com. Come join the A-Team.
Watts Family Grill. We grill slow, smile, secret sauce, cold beer, and old friends. Park out back. Look for us on Blackstone, south of McKinley. Watts Family Grill.
In 1985, Larry Korth set out to help his friends, family, and community find affordable ways to buy a home or a business property. 30 years later, Mid-Valley Financial is the premier mortgage banker in the Central Valley. The professional staff at Mid-Valley will find the best mortgage products for your family. Mid-Valley Financial takes great pride in being the Central Valley's local lender. Visit us at midvalleyfinancial.com.
Lunch phone, what is your location, please?
I'm in Fresno's Tower District.
What is your budget, please?
I only have $7.
Well, that leaves you only one choice. Go directly to Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District. He is having a lunch special for $6.89.
Well, that won't leave me enough money to get a drink.
No worries. Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District will get you lunch and a drink for just $6.89.
Wow, I'm going straight to Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District to get the lunch special and drink for just $6.89.
Thank you for calling Lunch Phone. This has been a recording.
What?
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Well, welcome back to New Thought Talk. I am the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center, located in beautiful downtown Madera. And my guests on the show today are the Reverends Michael and Valerie Torphy. They are the ministers of the Center for Spiritual Living, located on Clinton Street in Fresno. And we've been talking with Reverend Valerie about her journey from being a person coming to a center to becoming a minister. And right when we went to the break, we were talking about you had went to Mile High Church Center
Yes.
there for your training. Drove 200 and some miles.
Yes.
Whoa, that's dedication. But one of the things that I wanted to point out, because as you were talking about your story, and I love this, people look at ministers and they think, well, that's your job. It's not a job; it's a calling.
It is.
And when the calling comes, there really isn't a way that you can run, but you can't hide.
That's
comes with
true.
it. So you went to Mile High, and you took your class, and then you moved to California.
Yes.
Michael became the senior minister and spiritual leader of the CSL Center there on Clinton. And then you drove down to, where'd you go? Santa Rosa?
Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa.
That's another couple hundred miles, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be a 6-hour drive
Yeah.
with traffic. So yes.
So it's not like you Googled ministerial license and went online, paid your $65 and got your ticket. And you know, I can't tell you how many people think that that's the process, because we're not mainstream,
Yeah.
you know. But one of the things that I learned, I was in another life, I was a doctor of chiropractic, and people always used to, what kind of education did you have? Well, our education actually was about 1,000 hours more than a medical
Yeah.
doctor, because we got all the stuff the medical doctors got, plus we got our chiropractic, stuff
Yeah.
on top of it. And the thing is, our ministry in New Thought, the consciousness that goes behind the teaching is pretty powerful, pretty all-inclusive, and just our ministers that come up through the training are well-trained to do the job that they do. And so you have this...
Well,
Go ahead.
it starts out about yourself.
Yeah.
It's all about self-discovery, and that keeps deepening. And as it deepens, you realize that as you're for yourself, you're for the planet
Yes.
and all the inhabitants of the planet.
Yes.
So it's really connecting to that ultimate oneness that we teach in our
It really
philosophy.
is.
It
Yeah.
is.
It's like the deeper that you go within, the greater the universal connection that you have.
That's right.
And people, when they first come to New Thought, and I use the term New Thought philosophy because we have Universal Foundation for Better Living, we've got Unity, we've got Religious Science, we've got Divine Science, and various other organizations that fall under the umbrella of New Thought. And our principles that we teach are pretty similar across the board. And
And the teachings, they really can be discovered in any religion.
and that's true.
They're basic spiritual principles, so they're...
And Michael, one of the things we were talking about before the show started, I had the opportunity to join with Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon and his wife, Reverend Dr. Deborah Gordon, up in Canada when I was up there for the Canadian New Thought Conference.
Great people.
Oh, they're incredible people, but the thing that I actually did an interview with Ken and Deborah up there that's will be released here in the future. But one of the things that he was talking about, and it really, because I'm from a different umbrella organization, if you will, than Center for Spiritual Living, but to see that as the spiritual leader for that organization, it is the largest religious science organization in the world, his focus is on the message
Yes.
across the various religious and philosophical New Thought understandings. That there are basic principles
Yes.
that are common to every religion in the world today. It makes no difference whether you're a Buddhist or you're a Christian or you're Muslim or you're New Thought or anybody and anything in between or even beyond. And for me, I find that very exciting because I think in today's world, and even in yesterday's world, that New Thought, that the philosophy that we teach is a philosophy of peace, a philosophy of understanding that oneness. And we're kind of like, I see us kind of like the core values that other religions incorporate with a lot of their other stuff.
Well, the nice thing about our teaching is even in any given religion, how you see God, how you experience God is unique to you.
Mm-hmm.
So in our teaching, in our philosophy, our way of life, if you will, you come from different backgrounds, from different spiritual teachings, from different religions, yet you're still comforted by that, whether it's connection to Muhammad or Jesus or Buddha or whoever. You're still comforted by that, yet you're expanded into something different, or you go beyond that. But it's all good. I've always felt uncomfortable with people saying I'm a recovering Catholic.
Yeah.
And I was like, that didn't feel good to me. So I say I'm I'm a transcendent Catholic.
There you go.
I love where I came from. I love the philosophy. I love the Pope. But I'm into something different now that feeds me.
How you got to where you are is the story of
Right.
your life experience.
Yes.
Right.
Why choose to say a part of my life experience is less than?
Yes.
You know, it's the totality of who I am. If you hadn't been, you know, involved with what you were involved with spiritually, whatever that is for each and every one of us, you may not have gotten to where you are today.
Absolutely.
You'd be a different person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
One of my favorite things is as I was taking classes in Buddhism and I was taking classes in Islam and the Bible and on, I get to pick all the things that I agree with and all the things that I love from all the faiths that are true across. And I don't have to say I'm this or I'm that. I can say I'm all of it.
and isn't that true?
It is
Yeah.
true.
Yes.
You know, what?
And we're not better than anybody else. We're not less than. We're just another way of experiencing
Yes.
this spiritual path that all of humanity's on.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, okay, we've got summer practitioner workshops going on at the center. We've got, what do we got going on in CSL as far as gatherings and stuff? You got any conferences or anything coming up that?
Not usually. Was it February?
February.
Yeah, February.
February?
There's the national conference where we do business, but there's all kinds of workshops and speakers and great music.
Yeah.
Best music in the world. If you like New Thought music, you like to rock, go
Uh-huh.
to one of those gatherings. I mean, they're phenomenal.
And it's in Las Vegas this year.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Now-
so it's like reachable and
Yeah, if you're here on
Yeah.
the West Coast.
You don't have to be in a religious science church to come to it.
Uh-huh.
You can come regardless of what faith you're in. So the experience is something phenomenal.
It is.
And if you're in a center, then you've never been to one of these things. I remember my first one. I'll never forget. It was in Universal City in Los Angeles, and it's like, wow, you can feel the bigness of our
Uh-huh.
philosophy, and not just your own, your own
Right.
little community, but you're part of this something greater and bigger.
Yeah. Now, do they still have an annual meeting at Asilomar anymore? Is that pretty much,
Last year was the last.
last year was the last year?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We do have ministers' gatherings, one coming up in September.
Yes. And there's all kinds of regional conferences.
They go on?
Yes.
Okay.
So on the CSL website at csl.org.
Okay, that's csl.org for, people that are interested. And, Michael, when you were on the show 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, whenever it was, I want to thank you again for coming. Valerie, I thought Michael probably came because he figured, here's this guy struggling with this show, and I'm going to help him out, and be a presence. And what happened during the show was the station owner came down. He'd done a printout of the stats for the show at that particular time, and I don't know, we had like 2,500 or people watching the show. And I'm like, we got that many people watching, and we have an international audience, So it was great. Over the years, we've increased our audience. I was talking to Mike Briggs about a week and a half ago, and he said that our audience reaches 30,000
Wow.
people.
That's amazing.
It's international.
You've grown, dude.
Amazing.
Grown, yeah.
No.
But the thing is that there's that many people out in the world that are being touched, and so it's very humbling to think about it. But having ministers like you that come on and share, not only your what's going on at your center, but share your story, share your heart, share your take on the teaching and stuff. We reach an incredible audience, and how wonderful is that?
What I think is really important is that you have this connection with people that may have not heard of us, but within them they relate to what we're saying.
Yes.
And there's places all around the world that you can find. And you can be part of a community that believes in this philosophy, that believes in a world that works for everybody,
Yes.
that believes in a world that can change for the better. We have a woman who is from Santa Monica. She's in Reading now, I think, but she is the minister in the Ukraine,
Oh.
They've been going through all those changes and
Yeah.
all the dialogue that's been going on in the ministers' lift, started the prayer work to hold them in consciousness. And I mean, she's this woman that I went through school with, and she visited a couple of times. Somebody invited her over there, and she gave up family, home, everything to just do this, follow her calling to create now they have 3 in the Ukraine.
That's amazing. Isn't
Yeah, so if you're in the Ukraine, you're looking for a place,
There
look
you
her
go.
up.
All right. That's great. Yeah, we had Reverend Connie, and I'm sorry I don't remember her last name, up at Canada. She was one of the speakers. She is from Kenya. And I was talking, I did an interview with her, and it was like she just left everything and went to
Yeah.
Kenya.
That's
And-
a calling.
Yeah, and it really is. And, you know, the issues of her, you know, trying to get started and working and growing and stuff and coming back to the States makes for a very powerful and interesting story.
It does.
You know, New Thought is growing throughout the world, and it's an exciting thing. And so we've got our second break that is coming up, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about that, some of the local things, and just good things in general. So I'll see you when you come back.
This message was brought to you by Javita Coffee. Change your coffee, change your life, 1 cup at a time. Check us out at ilovejavita.com.
Viewers of Central Valley Talk, what is your home worth? The experienced agents at Mike Briggs Properties are offering a free property valuation if you mention Central Valley Talk. Find the value of your property for free. Call Mike Briggs Properties at 486-6758. Mention Central Valley Talk. Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758.
Hi, Bob Rose for Car Bazaar Auto Sales. Wow! This month only 0 down payment on drive-off. That's right, folks. 0 down payment on drive-off. Up to $2,000 trade-in value for your car. Monthly payments as low as $299.99. SSI and AFDC are always welcome here at Car Bazaar. 30 years in business. That's right, folks. 30 years in business. We finance anybody. And remember, folks, at Car Bazaar, your job is your credit.
Blackstone, south of Ashland.
Lunch phone, what is your location, please?
I'm in Fresno's Tower District.
What is your budget, please?
I only have $7.
Well, that leaves you only one choice. Go directly to Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District. He is having a lunch special for $6.89.
Well, that won't leave me enough money to get a drink.
No worries. Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District will get you lunch and a drink for just $6.89.
Wow! I'm going straight to Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District to get the lunch special and drink for just $6.89.
Thank you for calling Lunch Phone. This has been a recording.
What?
In 1985, Larry Korth set out to help his friends, family, and community find affordable ways to buy a home or a business property. 30 years later, Mid-Valley Financial is the premier mortgage banker in the Central Valley. The professional staff at Mid-Valley will find the best mortgage products for your family. Mid-Valley Financial takes great pride in being the Central Valley's local lender. Visit us at midvalleyfinancial.com.
Hello, I'm Shelley at Horn Photo, and it's time to do more with your pictures. Get those images out of your camera, off your computer, and rescued from deep within your phone, and turn them into memorable photo keepsakes and gifts. Here at Horn Photo in Fresno, we have many wonderful photo items that we produce in-house, and we're here to help you find your individual style. So now's the time. Stop by Horn Photo in the Bellagio at Blackstone and Eames, or visit us online at hornphoto.com to explore the possibilities.
Watts Family Grill. We grill slow, smile, secret sauce, cold beer, and old friends. Park out back. Look for us on Blackstone, south of McKinley. Watts Family Grill.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Well, welcome back. It is New Thought Talk. I am the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center located in beautiful downtown Madera. My guests today are the Reverends Valerie and Michael Torphy at the Center for Spiritual Living in beautiful downtown, well, semi-downtown Fresno.
Well,
It's
really
out
close
on-
to this area.
What's that?
Really close to the tower.
Yeah, out towards the Tower District. It's on Clinton, what's the nearest major cross street up there?
It's between West and Fruit.
Between West and Fruit. And for all you non-Fresnons, that's kind of out on the west side, but still towards the downtown, what we call the Tower area. And the Tower District is a really neat little place.
is.
You know, there's a lot of artsy, you know, musical and theatrical stuff going on, and it's a great place to be. And you know, the demographics in your center. Do you have a lot of musicians and artists that, you know, are part of your congregation? Or, I mean, they're kind of transient people. They kind of move in and out, but.
Well, we thank God we have people that volunteer to sing, and we got a great musician.
Yeah.
So we keep our Sunday service going with people that are there, plus outside guests.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So, let's see. I lost my train of thought where we were when we went to the break, but I want to touch back again on this idea of Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon's understanding of transcending the different, individualized, and seeing the bigger picture. You know, he was talking about, he was at a conference somewhere, and he and Reverend Dr. John Waterhouse found out that there was a big Pentecostal conference going on somewhere, you know, within, you know, a couple hours drive or an hour's drive or whatever. And he called them up and said, "I'd like to come, you know, speak to you." And they said, "Well," and he said, "How about if I buy everybody lunch?" Well, you know, I think it came out, he said, like $4,500 or something. And he bought everybody lunch. They had him come out and speak. And, you know, when he was done, they went, "Wow, it's not so different."
Yeah.
You know? And that's the thing. When we begin to communicate across philosophical boundaries or lines, artificial lines that we put up, all of a sudden, you know, we find we're really not so different. It's amazing, isn't it? You know, one of the fellows that I have been talking about on the show, do you know who Bishop Carlton Pearson is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
His story is a great story.
It is.
And you know, he got into personal study, and I'm not trying to sell anybody on shifting their personal beliefs, but as Bishop Pearson began to study in the Greek language, the Koine Greek language that the New Testament is written in, and he began to compare that against the English translations, he found that the nuances were quite different than the translation would lead one to believe. And as he had this experience with some other things going on in his life, he began to have an understanding that this fellow that we call Jesus the Christ, this master teacher, taught something that got lost in the translation along the way. You know, that we are one, that there's a greater God, a greater good, and that we, you know, his two major commandments, love God with all that you are, basically, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. And what is that saying? It's saying there's a unity, there's a oneness, you know, and we're beginning to see some of that. And there is a thing going on in Christendom that is called the emerging church, if you're familiar with that at all. And they're beginning to make that shift in philosophy. And yeah, I just see New Thought reaching out and touching people. God love him, Joel Osteen is fun to listen to, you know, because I call it New Thought Christianity. You know, I mean, that's what he's...
It's like unity.
Yeah, you know, he's bringing this message. And there are people that are obviously upset with his message, but I think like water behind a dam, it sits there patiently waiting, and the water knows ultimately the dam's going to give way. Yeah. It's just being patient, you know. And Christianity, whether people realize it or not, has reinvented itself many times over the 2,000 years that it's existed. And
well, Jesus was really just expanding Judaism. Really, that's all he was doing. He was taking it to another level.
Well, he was a radical in his day.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was a radical rabbi.
You know,
he wasn't a Christian.
No, and how, you know, when you begin to, and as you found in your ministerial studies, as I found in mine, when we begin to look at the Buddha, and we look at the teachings of the Upanishads and the
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita, and
Yes.
we look at how Lao Tzu presented his philosophy through the Tao, and we look at Confucianism and Jainism and Zoroastrian and all these other things. All of a sudden, we go, well, this is here, and I find it here, and I find it here, and maybe there is a principle, and this was where Ernest Holmes was so astute.
Yes.
That there are principles that are common to all, and what he became was a gatherer of principles.
Yes.
And he put them together. He said, I'm not here to create a new religion. I'm a combiner of the truth that I find in all religions.
Yes.
And how great is that,
Yeah.
And the thing is, in regards to that here in the Central Valley area, and I was sharing with Reverend Michael and Reverend Valerie when we were on the break, I believe that we are seeing what I will call a resurgence or a growth of New Thought consciousness here that I believe is going to move way beyond the Central
Yes.
Valley. I believe that the light that you bring, and the light that Reverend Lily brings, and the light that Reverend Anna brings, and Reverend Connie and Catherine down in Visalia, and the new minister, whoever they get for the Unity Center, and Nikki she's a ministerial intern or something like that at the Oneness Center. I believe that the light that all these people are bringing is going to coalesce and shine ever brighter. And in that regard, we recently, all of us, or those that could attend, came together to have a ministerial conference here in the Fresno area. What was your take on that? I know what my take is. What was your take on that?
Well, Valerie was very involved in organizing and getting going, and so I'll let her speak about it.
Well, actually, Reverend Shirley Hart's the one who came and said, we need to do this, and I want you to host it. Okay, I'll do that. And she's been in the area, and she knows the ministers, and I said, you invite them, we'll host them. And so we
And you
did
did.
that, and I thought it was very successful. And being relatively new, it is 5.5 years, however, ministry keeps us very, very busy, and so sometimes we don't get out to meet everybody that
Most of
we'd
the
like.
time.
Well, mostly we don't.
I have
And
no
so-
idea what you're talking about.
So it's very nice to have somebody say, hey, I know these people, I'll invite them, you host them, and let's do this. And so that's what we did.
And what was interesting was that we found that there was a great commonality
Of course.
of all the ministers there and a desire to go forward with this. We're going to meet again in September, and it is my intention and wish and hope to see this to be an ongoing thing that, as we come together, because, things that are going on at the CSL Center on Clinton and the things that are going on at the Unity Center, they're out on, where are they at, Shaw, or, no, I don't, but anyway, and the Oneness Center and New Thought and out in Madera and so on. All these things, as we come together, we not only do we share, but we support. And it's like your center is joining with the Unity Church for the 9/11 Unity Day of Prayer.
Yes.
And that's all throughout the whole Unity organization. But Unity Fresno is going to support the Day of Prayer during the day, and the evening ceremonies are going to be at the CSL Center on Clinton.
I think that locally we're calling it a New Thought Day of Prayer.
New Thought Day of Prayer, sure. But, this is all,
And everybody's invited.
Yeah. And
All right, come on
they've
down.
got some great, it is not to sidestep the importance of the prayer work that is being done, because it is the primary and most important thing. But also, there's going to be some great music and things going on
Yes.
around that at the center. And
Should be spiritually uplifting,
there you go.
definitely.
And it'll start, what did we say, about 6 o'clock or something like that?
I think we said 5:30.
5:30, 6 o'clock, and
Check out our website.
Yeah,
Their
check out
website.
the website for Reverend Michael and Valerie Center is the cslfresno.org is their webpage, and you can go there and you can find out that their worship service, celebration, whatever you want to call it, starts at 11 o'clock. You've got a meditation.
10:30 meditation.
10:30 meditation. It's there. Their address is there, their phone number is there, their email address is there, and
We even have a 12:15 hospitality, so if you can't make it to church, come over to hospitality and talk to us and see if there's any questions you'd like answered, because either me or Reverend Valerie or the practitioners would love to answer your questions.
And let me tell you, that's key and most important. When he says there's hospitality out there, many of you are some way tied to your old spiritual organization, whatever it is, or your current spiritual organization, however you want to call it. But maybe you have questions. Maybe you have fears. And to go out and to spend some time on Sunday at 12:15, 12:30 at their hospitality, sit down. This fella and this woman will sit down and they will talk with you. They will answer your questions. They have other people that will sit and talk with you. They will answer questions, because, the questions that you have are not just your questions. They're questions that everybody has.
Yes.
And you can take those questions and you can embody them as part of your experience. You can share them with people. And the thing is, it's not about bringing people into any particular center. It's about sharing the philosophy.
Right. Well, Ernest Holmes himself didn't want to build a religion. He wanted to train people in his philosophy, teach them the principles, and have them bring it back to their own religions.
Right.
But usually people wanted to stay, and then they eventually talked him into, well, they didn't talk to him in. He saw that something greater than what he wanted was taking place. And
That's right.
Stepped out of the way and let it take place, and what we got today is a great thing.
It is tremendous. So it looks like we're scheduled now for our third and final break for the day. And stick around. We got some more good stuff for this last segment, so we'll see you when we come back.
Yes, we will.
This message was brought to you by Javita Coffee. Change your coffee, change your life, one cup at a time. Check us out at ilovejavita.com.
Viewers of Central Valley Talk, what is your home worth? The experienced agents at Mike Briggs Properties are offering a free property valuation if you mention Central Valley Talk. Find the value of your property for free. Call Mike Briggs Properties at 486-6758. Mention Central Valley Talk. Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758.
Hi, Bob Rose for Car Bazaar Auto Sales. Wow! This month only 0 down payment on drive-off. That's right, folks. 0 down payment on drive-off. Up to $2,000 trade-in value for your car. Monthly payments as low as $299.99. SSI and AFDC are always welcome here at Car Bazaar. 30 years in business. That's right, folks. 30 years in business. We finance anybody. And remember, folks, at Car Bazaar, your job is your credit.
Blackstone, south of Ashland.
Let our family at Avakian Insurance Services help protect your family's future. If you've bought a new home, changed vehicles, or just need a comprehensive review, let our agents help you. As your family grows, we can offer you competitive rates on life and health insurance. Call Avakian Insurance Services for a quote today. Avakian Insurance Services, 268-7386, or visit us online at avakianinsurance.com. Come join the A-Team.
Watts Family Grill. We grill slow, smile, secret sauce, cold beer, and old friends. Park out back. Look for us on Blackstone, south of McKinley. Watts Family Grill.
In 1985, Larry Korth set out to help his friends, family, and community find affordable ways to buy a home or a business property. 30 years later, Mid-Valley Financial is the premier mortgage banker in the Central Valley. The professional staff at Mid-Valley will find the best mortgage products for your family. Mid-Valley Financial takes great pride in being the Central Valley's local lender. Visit us at midvalleyfinancial.com.
Lunch phone, what is your location, please?
I'm in Fresno's Tower District.
What is your budget, please?
I only have $7.
Well, that leaves you only one choice. Go directly to Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District. He is having a lunch special for $6.89.
Well, that won't leave me enough money to get a drink.
No worries. Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District will get you lunch and a drink for just $6.89.
Wow, I'm going straight to Bobby Salazar's in the Tower District to get the lunch special and drink for just $6.89.
Thank you for calling Lunch Phone. This has been a recording.
What?
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Well, welcome back. This is New Thought Talk. I am the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center, located in beautiful downtown Madera. And my guests today are the Reverends Michael and Valerie Torphy from the Center for Spiritual Living, located in the beautiful, wonderful, and creative Tower District here in the Fresno area. And gosh, this has been, I really appreciate the fact that you took the time to come by for the show today. I've learned, as I always do, more things. And, it's just we've had a chance to really share some good stuff. And, we're talking about the ministerial gathering and, coming together and stuff. Is there anything, Michael or Valerie, that you feel that touches your heart in a way that you see, how New Thought is its place here in the Central Valley, or what's going on with you or growth or anything?
Do you want to?
I do, but you can first.
What crossed my mind is when we came here, the economy had really hit Fresno and the whole valley really hard.
It had, yeah.
And the neighborhood we live in, it's called the Sunnyside neighborhood, we would walk a mile, and there's this one part of it that was just a place where homes were planned to be. And it was probably 3 years before those homes started coming back. And I thought, that resurgence of New Thought, I feel, has something to do with that coming back, because the people that I know that were going through the hard times were so positive about it, and we're seeing the good that's going to come out of it.
New Thought, as it evolved through the transition between the 19th and the 20th century, laid a foundation of thought in this country that has been a substrate to support the growth and stuff through all this time period, I believe. You had people like Napoleon Hill and Wallace Wattles and John Bascom, all these early thinkers and stuff in New Thought. And many people don't know those names, but they know the things that they talked about.
Yes.
The idea of think and grow rich, which translated through, I can't think of his guy, the Power of Positive Consciousness, Norman Vincent Peale,
Yes.
Robert Schuller. I mean,
Yes.
these guys, they touched a wide audience, and it's just grown in many areas. And I was laughing about Joel Osteen, but I do take him serious, and Reverend Carlton Pearson and Tony Robbins, for crying out loud, and Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra and
Eckhart
Tolle and there's Oprah, yeah. And we're watching this grow, and people are resonating with it, and they don't know that it's New Thought, and it's not important that we put a name on it or anything, but it's the consciousness that we see expanding and growing and stuff. And I see it growing here. I see people, I talk to people, and they go, I didn't know that there's a place where I could go that, I believe this, I grew up with this, and you're talking that I can experience this. And
Well, that's why we call it New Thought.
Yeah.
Because it becomes new to the person as they remember what it is they're here for. And it's actually just ancient wisdom. It's been around since the beginning of time. Before the beginning of time.
Before the beginning of time.
You're going to talk about...
I was going to talk about the thing that excites me the most.
Yeah.
I'm the youth and family minister.
Uh-huh.
And having the young people in I do a service for them while the adults are in the other service. But seeing the young people, I just get so excited about teaching the young people and having them accept the principles and get it. And I think, oh my gosh, if I'd known this when I was a kid.
Oh, that is so true.
We're really attracting youth and we're really attracting families, and I am so excited about that because the possibilities for the young people growing up understanding that they're one with God.
That's right.
Right where they are, God is. It's just...
I wish I'd have been in a class where she was teaching it.
That's great.
I don't think I've fallen in love with it as a kindergartner.
Very good. Well, listen, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
Michael, again, thank you for coming back.
My pleasure.
It's not going to be so long the next
Not
time
2
I
years,
back,
okay.
yeah? Not 2 years. We're going to see this. We're going to see this incredible growth that I see in my heart and my consciousness. And you guys are doing a wonderful job there in Clinton. And I thank you, and I know the community thanks you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to take this time and we, as I always do each week, I want to share with you, you know, we talk about these wonderful principles in New Thought, and as I was sharing on the show today, our audience has expanded to an amazing number of people, and we're just all over the world. But you know, you may be first discovering this show today, or New Thought is just kind of something in you know, where do you go? What do you do? Well, if you're watching the show, obviously you have a computer. And if you have a computer, there are resources that you can go to. You can look up the different organizations, the Centers for Spiritual Living, the Universal Foundation for Better Living, Divine Science, and so on and so forth. But you can also go to a webpage that is called findacenter.com. It is put out by an organization that's called Serving New Thought. And no matter where you're at in the world, you can find the nearest New Thought Center to where you're at. You just take your little cursor, that little arrow or hand or whatever it is, you put it over the map, and you click on it, and it will take you to a province, a state, or whatever, and you work your way down until you get to an area that is close to you. And there will be information there. If the organization takes the time to invest themselves in working on their information thing, it'll be more dynamic, if you will. But even if it's not, you'll find the basic contact information there where you can get in touch with the New Thought Center that is nearest to where you're at, or maybe multiple. So maybe you'll find a religious science or a UFBL or a Unity Center, and you can contact all of them and find a way, because you know the reason why we have all these different centers is God created us as individuals. God did not use a cookie cutter and said we're all going to be the same. But there are some basic principles that they transcend everything, and you can find these, and you can find them in a way that resonates best with you. And that's the most important thing. And the other thing that you can do, you can start right now, today, right where you're at. You can go to newthoughtlibrary.com, and if you go there, you'll find a listing by either book title or by authors, New Thought literature books that were written from the earliest pioneers in the New Thought teachings. People like the Fillmores, Ernest Holmes, John Bascom, Ralph Waldo Trine, H. Emily Cady. I mean, just there's a whole, it's phenomenal how much effort has gone into creating this library to make it available to anybody in the world. That means it's available to you, and it's available to you at no cost. You can go there, you can find the authors, you can read the books. It's right there online. There are other sources that you can check through those various links that will take you to divine journal entries and a study on the Tao and many different other things. So it's there for you so that you can, if you so make the choice to follow this philosophy or to question it or to get involved, you can begin the journey right now today. And it's there for you 24/7, 7 days a week. I know, as a matter of fact, because I do volunteer with Serving New Thought, that at any given time we sometimes have 70 to 80,000 people researching books in the library at any given moment. Imagine that around the world. And as this philosophy grows and it goes out to touch other people, as Reverend Michael and I spoke about today, that it will change your heart. And as it changes your heart, you begin to understand that there is a oneness, a completeness, and a wholeness in the world, that we are all one, that there is no difference. And it makes no difference whether you're living here in the Central Valley or on the East Coast in New York or over in London or somewhere in the Middle East or around in Asia. And we have viewers in all those parts of the world. We're here. We're one. We're connected. There is no time, no place, and no space that we are not, because we understand that there is an infinite God, an infinite creative God creating infinitely all the time. How wonderful is that? And if you happen to be local to the Central Valley, I want to recommend that you show up Sunday morning at the Center for Spiritual Living out in the Tower District on Clinton, or if you happen to be out towards Madera Way, that you show up out at the Spiritual Awareness Center. We're located at 218 South D Street. You are welcome. We love to have new people. You know, the minister out there is a fellow I know fairly well, and you know, he's kind of a nice guy, but come on out. It's great. We'd love to have you. The Reverend Torphy would love to have you at the Center for Spiritual Living. We share this teaching. because it is a calling. It does come from our heart. So I want to take now this last minute or so that we have, and as I always do, remember that the light of God surrounds you, the love of God enfolds you, that the power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you. Because no matter where you're at, God is, and all is well. You have a great week. It's yours to create, and I'll see you when we come back.
This message was brought to you by Javita Coffee. Change your coffee, change your life, one cup at a time. Check us out at ilovejavita.com.
Viewers of Central Valley Talk, what is your home worth? The experienced agents at Mike Briggs Properties are offering a free property valuation if you mention Central Valley Talk. Find the value of your property for free. Call Mike Briggs Properties at 486-6758. Mention Central Valley Talk. Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758.
Hi, Bob Rose for Car Bazaar Auto Sales. Wow! This month only 0 down payment on drive-off. That's right, folks. 0 down payment on drive-off. Up to $2,000 trade-in value for your car. Monthly payments as low as $299.99. SSI and AFDC are always welcome here at Car Bazaar. 30 years in business. That's right, folks. 30 years in business. We finance anybody. And remember, folks, at Car Bazaar, your job is your credit.
Blackstone, south of Ashland.